How's it going, guys? It's Nutshell here, and today we have a pretty big news video, or at least a video discussion about the latest updates that are coming to Escape from Tarkov with the release of patch 0.14.9.5, which will be seeing the ability to run the PVE mode on a local server. This was delayed, and unfortunately we won't be getting it in June, which is what they predicted would happen. And of course that could be down to a variety of different things, them wanting to make sure that it does come into the game properly, which I don't think is a bad thing. Rushing out updates is, from experience of playing a variety of different games, is never a good thing. So although it is annoying to not actually have this feature added into the game, at least instantly within June, we do have this thing coming in early July. So this patch and what we're talking about today will come in as part of the July update that we're going to be seeing. So I would assume within the next week or 2 weeks, we will see the update to Escape from Tarkov that we've all been waiting for, the ability to run PVE on a local machine. So no longer are you going to have to wait an eternity in order to get into the PVE mode, but primarily it's going to mean that PVE becomes that much better for a lot of people. And combine that with the fact that it will actually be available for everyone to actually purchase as part of a edition that, you know, maybe doesn't already include PVE, which includes the standard all the way up to all of the ones in between that and the Edge of Darkness, and of course the Unheard edition, which is great news. And I think that this is fantastic, albeit I would have really loved to see that PVE was just introduced as a free mode for anybody to play. I don't know why BSG are going to be introducing PVE as a kind of purchasable mode in particular. I guess because they don't want to upset people that have already paid for the PVE mode as part of the Unheard edition, and of course being a bonus of the Escape from Tarkov Edge of Darkness edition, which I can kind of see, but at the same time there's a lot of other bonuses that I feel like having PVE just available for everyone for free would have been a much better choice. But that is something that is definitely a bit annoying to actually have as a purchasable thing, as I'm sure many of you will probably think. The only thing I can really say definitively is that we don't really know the price of this, and provided that BSG at least put a relatively low cost to this expansion, or, you know, upgrade, or whatever they want to call it, whatever made up term they want to come up with now, that it is relatively cheap. I would really hope that that is the case. We should definitely not be charged anything over and above £25 or about $30. Anything over that is absolutely ludicrous, considering now they don't even need as much of a server capacity as they, you know, were expecting previously when it was on a server-based system, now being a local system that just connects to the server, I assume at the end of the raid. Yeah, this is definitely something that should be free, but I wouldn't be too against them adding it in for like £10, £15, £20 at the maximum. But yeah, if they come out with some ridiculous prices, just be sure that you try and avoid purchasing the mode, because at the end of the day, if you don't pay with your wallet, they'll get the hint and probably end up lowering the price anyway. So fingers crossed that it comes in at a reasonable price, otherwise it is just crazy. But moving on, there are quite a few other bits and bobs that have come with the update notes that I wanted to cover, and things that we can talk about and discuss in this video. I'd be interested to see your thoughts on the actual, I guess, the new modes that they're bringing in, or at least the ability to purchase the new modes and PvE in general. But in terms of the specifics, we are getting quality of life changes, very broad, very unoriginal in terms of highlighting what's actually coming with these quality of life updates, whether it be, you know, easily adding stuff to your PMC when you want to load out something with a standard loadout, rather than having to, you know, maybe creating a preset for your PMC that will just automatically purchase everything that you need for that said loadout or preset. That would be really good. Obviously you can create presets of weapons, but it would be great to have a full preset that you can just purchase everything on your entire PMC that is within that preset, whether that be just you can only have one preset or 2 presets, 3 sets, I don't know, but that would be something really cool. Unfortunately, no real information on this at this moment in time, but hopefully they do something like this that is just going to speed up your menu grind that happens in Tarkov, and maybe even some things to help with sort the stash. This sort of thing has been one of the bugbears of pretty much every player on the game, and hopefully that will come, whether it's in this update or some soonish updates. I think this couldn't come soon enough. Either way, there's also a in-game poll system that will be coming into the game, so we can vote in-game as to what you want to see next, or maybe they give out a highlight as to did you enjoy the latest event mode, yes, no, or maybe just a response form that you can give in. I think this is a good step in the right direction for communication between BSG and also the player base. Communication, very, very key when it comes to a game like this, where developing certain systems can really have a knock-on thing to how the actual game plays in general. Then we have a new in-game questline, which is kind of cool. We've got Nostalgia. Now, depending on what this questline is, it could be really good. Otherwise, it may, give out some pretty bog standard rewards. I would assume, given the fact that there's no exclusive items that are specifically named, that there aren't any coming into the game with this questline. So maybe it just unlocks some new features, or new, unlocks barters, whatever you want to call them, that you can use in the future when you do manage to complete the quest line. Obviously, with PvP wipe coming to an end, you're probably not going to be able to take advantage of it, at least not in the long term anyway. So whatever comes from that quest is good, but of course it's primarily a long-term quest that will be added in, whether that be a short-term or a long-term quest. Anyway, moving on, then there is the item wishlist mechanics. So I assume that they're going to be upgrading how this actually works and how it actually is able to be used within the game, whether it's a specific tab that you can kind of go to a lot easier within the menus rather than, going to the flea and checking the wish list. Not entirely sure whether you can see it in the hideout so you can purchase it much quicker. Not entirely sure what they're going to do with this, but it's something to mention. There's also going to be compensation for successful cheater reports. Now, we don't know exactly what this is going to be, whether it is that if you were taken out by a cheater, whether you get all of your stuff back within the raid, which could be really nice to actually have, because obviously it's not actually fair dying and losing all of your kit to a cheating scumbag who's just been rolling around on the map feeling like they're an absolute giga chad when really they're just a squirrel in their basement. But either way, of course, cheaters in the game, terrible problem right now, and at least giving compensation back to players that have been wrongfully cheated against is something that I'm a big advocate for, and just making sure that they continue to crack down on the cheater problem. I think this is the biggest thing. It's not so much a solution to the problem, but at least it's a nice alternative for being taken out by cheaters if they do even get banned in the first place, because of course they've got to get banned after you report them for you to actually get any kind of compensation in the first place. And whether that be a full compensation or a limited one, we don't know. So yeah, I mean, it's not a solution to the problem, and really they should be fixing how to remove the cheaters in the first place rather than giving you rewards when you do get actually taken out by a cheater. But I guess it's a step in some sort of direction. Whether it's the best direction, I don't know. And as an individual player, I can't really make that assumption, but I'd be interested to see your thoughts on this. But then we have the ability to reset the PvE character profile. So we'll be seeing this in the game. This is brilliant. I think that this gives you the opportunity to try out different ways of playing. However, I would have loved to have seen them add in the ability to play multiple characters, so you can have 1 maybe to 3 characters within the PvE game mode, or just Tarkov in general, so that you could play any one of them. So say you wanted a USEC PMC, but you also wanted a Bear PMC, you could play both of those, as well as maybe you want to try out a challenge mode where, you personally decide I'm never using the flea, and that's going to be my kind of character that I can do that on. That would be kind of cool. The ability to reset, obviously, if there's no really rewards, I very much doubt that many people are going to actually reset their character in PvE, but it's an option, and I'm sure that I will take advantage of this at some point in the future when I want to restart and do some form of challenge, and it will probably end up that I end up resetting my character just as they release some form of challenge mode or something. That is literally my luck when it comes to updates on video games. Anyway, then we've got new PMC outfits, and it's kind of the final bits and bobs that we have for this update video, and kind of the discussion is that, yeah, you're going to see some new PMC outfits at Ragman. You can get those whether or not you want to spend your rubles on that. I guess in PvP, it's the end of the wipe. Why not spend your money on it? But if you're a PvE player, obviously something to go for in the long term if you're not particularly fussed on it right now. Whether they're exclusive items and time gated, not entirely sure. By the looks of it, probably going to be a permanent kind of outfit that you can purchase, whether you are a new player or an old player, and whether that's linked to the actual new nostalgia quest line, we're not sure. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Obviously, patch notes not particularly the best on this topic. Then we've got improvements to the AI PMC behavior in PvE mode. This is probably one of the best things that could possibly come, and it can't come soon enough. The AI PMC are absolutely garbage, whether that be from just toggling onto you and one-tapping you in the head from miles away, or simply standing around just twisting around at certain ranges and not even remotely recognizing that you're even there, and so ends up with some pretty lackluster engagements where you either feel cheated by the AI or you feel like you've cheated the AI by them not actually doing anything. So they're very easy to actually decide on how to take them out once you learn the mechanics, the spawns, that sort of thing. Very easy to take out AI PMCs, and with this update, hopefully they become a little bit more roamy. They have a bigger area to roam, and they don't always spawn in the exact same spots every map. So dynamic spawns of PMCs would be a much better option, in my opinion, for the PvE mode. But obviously you don't want to make them too strong whereby, you know, they're spawning in random places and it ends up with you feeling like the whole point about PvE is to take it more casually and that sort of stuff, that you're getting rinsed by PMCs. I don't think that's a good look for the PvE mode and the community that are in PvE, and of course you can do that on PvP, so there's kind of no real reason to make them super cracked. So I'm hoping that they haven't altered them too much in terms of how they actually kind of laser beam you, that sort of stuff, and it's more so a movement and actual how they're kind of responding to the different terrain and where they're going to on maps that is the kind of core issue that I feel like the Escape from Tarkov PvE mode could really do with. So I thought I'd cover today's video. It's a little bit late. It was announced on the 29th of June, but I've been away on a bit of a sponsored thing with someone else as part of another channel that I run on YouTube. So I have been away from my computer to a certain extent. So we'll be seeing the videos coming back very regularly, hopefully getting back to at least 2 a day for a couple of days a week, and obviously daily content every day otherwise. But if you enjoyed Tarkov, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it useful, informative, let me know in the comments, and also subscribe down below if you want to see some more Tarkov. But if you're not sure whether you want to subscribe, check out these videos on screen which cover a couple of different topics, whether that be just pure gameplay or how to make a ton of money in the game. So with that being said, I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.